Hey everybody, still rushing through these intros because it's been a while. This is definitely the first instance of reading fanfiction that one of our group wrote. And not just like in the past, like wrote specifically to read on the show. That said, it's a little bit of a different tone. Michael's writing is it's really well written, but his writing is like David Wong meets Peter Gunn. James Gunn, not Peter Gunn.
I get those references.
Which is awesome, but be prepared. This one's gonna have a lot of gore and some adult references, should we say? This is a continuation of Ultimate Betrayal, Sweet Revenge, in which all of Ash's friends and family betrayed him by telling him he's not going to win a tournament and he should give up. And then there was a, 15-year time jump, and then he was the dictator of Silver Mountain, and he was the dictator of Mount Silver, and he hosted a tournament in order to lure all of his traitorous friends back so that he could torment them by calling them whores. The author abandoned that story like a sack of spuds in a snowstorm. The author abandoned that one like a sack of puppies at Christmas.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hi, Christmas.
Hi, Christmas!
I'm not good at similes.
Try one more.
The author abandoned that one like Chris Kattan did his wife.
Oh my god!
I don't know if that's true.
Oh my god!
That's right. This is Fanfiction Theater, a celebration of naive writing and all of its foibles, flaws, and unintentional hilarity. Can you tell I got high for these ones again? Okay, we ready for Ultimate Betrayal?
Let's go.
We ready to get
Sure.
betrayed all over again?
I have two characters that I want to voice, but that's about it. I want to do Damien, and I can't remember the other one, but I don't think they'll let you know if they come up.
Okay. And Tracy also has a good Ash. I could do Ash just to keep it in canon, but
I think it's time that you stepped aside and let some younger people fill your shoes.
All right. The other part to this is that it's a continuation from an AI prompt that's added another 1-year time jump and a mysterious organization known as the Necromancers. And you used this directly from that, right? This first paragraph?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and chapter 18 also has a little bit from a different one. Misha tried entering in, I can't remember, maybe one of the things that I shared or something, and it came out with even weirder shit, and I was like, okay, I can use that, but stop giving me stuff.
Okay, so we're beginning at chapter 17 of Ultimate Betrayal, Sweet Revenge. 1 year passed. As the members of the Shadow Pokemon Corps stood in formation on the fields outside the stadium, they were met by a man in a smart suit and tie. He wore dark Ray-Bans and had long black hair in a ponytail. The man was the leader of the mysterious organization known as the Necromancers. He was none other than Mr. Johnson. Shit.
You're not Mr. Johnson.
All right, look lively.
Mr. Johnson
Let's
barked.
finish this once and for all. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Let's finish this once and for
One more time. Let's finish this
fired.
once and for all.
The Shadow Pokemon Corps obeyed and began marching towards the stadium. Mr. Johnson marched alongside them.
Oh, well, this is a pretty quiet bunch.
He noted.
You don't think they're plotting anything, do you?
Of course they
Of
are.
course they are.
Yes, Quinn, go.
A member of the necromancers said.
Just like all teenagers at their core. Still, I suppose you're right. They're a bit quiet for plotting anything too overt.
So I just got to stop it right there for a second and say that's the end of the AI generated text. And just to be clear, nothing that's in here was mentioned in the first 16 chapters of
Exactly.
Ultimate Betrayal, Sweet Revenge. Mr. Johnson, the Necromancers, the Shadow Pokemon Core, all completely generated by the AI.
The nature of teenagers at their core.
Right.
Okay. The survivors walked beside them. Ash Ketchum, his daughter Jade to one side and Pikachu on the other. Brock, Damien, Tyler, Angie Yogana, Kyoko Kirigiri, Makoto Naege, Misaki Asano, and Vampire Jamal. Oh, that's good.
Misaki Asano.
Vampire Jamal. Where's called Jamal?
Ash's eyes darted around, taking everything in. They did not look up, though. He knew all too well what was in the sky. Didn't need to be reminded. He said nothing, but kept touching the pommels of his weapons sheathed in his hips. Seized on his hips.
It's on his hips.
He obviously knew danger lurked somewhere nearby.
Just like
Pikachu.
Libby. Just like,
Yeah, just like Libby, he was prepared for it.
Yep.
of course. Obviously.
Obviously.
Oh, you know what? Libby.
That was Eddie. That was my boy.
Yeah.
I would know that grumble anywhere.
That's Eddie.
Pikachu stared at the ground glumly. Mr. Johnson and his aide opened the doors at the rear of the remains of the stadium to admit the Pokemon Shadow Core into the stairwell that led down into the bowels of the structure. The door closed with an echoic finality behind them.
Because it said bowels.
Yeah. Part 2, 10 days earlier from 1 year later. Mr. Davis had joined them on his mission.
You do the math.
355. Okay.
The most
been a
evil
late year.
villains
How
of
do
all
we know?
time. Johnson and Davis, attorneys at law.
Mr. Davis had joined them on his mission. And Misty wasn't sure why. He was mostly just following her, and it made her skittish. She couldn't see his eyes behind the sunglasses, but he gave off a nervous energy, and his head kept darting every which way. They were currently racing up the metal staircase of a cruise ship. Wraiths had invaded and were attacking throughout the ship. Aren't they just a myth, though, if you think about it? Misty barreled through a door and found herself right by the railing that led off to the south of the ship. Led off to the side of the ship. I don't know where south came from. Stern? Was this the stern?
Should be Misty.
Stupid boats and all their stupid names for shit.
Right?
She didn't
Oh my
even
god,
know.
I just said that while I was writing Waterworld. Like, oh, what is that thing
Poop.
called? He's touching it.
Yeah. She didn't even know if this was the left or the right. Hell. She glanced both ways and saw no one. She felt a tap on her back and saw Mr. Davis behind her. He angled himself so he was right at the railing and set his gaze level with hers while pulling out what appeared to be
Yay.
index cards.
Because he's wearing sunglasses.
Oh,
Ray-Bans, everyone. Remember?
Okay.
I thought it was he set his gaze level.
Wrote this? This is stupid.
Oh, you're right. So he was right at the railing and set his gaze level with hers. He shook her. He shook the cards to get her attention, though he didn't look down, and said,
Do you even know where you are? You stupid slut!
Misty, you ignorant slut.
It's Dan Aykroyd, yeah. Misty was totally confused and offended, but she glanced down at the cards. On the top one, in a huge messy scrawl, was, "Hit me so my sunglasses go overboard." She didn't bother to tamp down the rage.
Oh,
she
honey,
felt,
they're already overboard.
and did exactly as the card asked.
Now what?
She started, but Mr. Davis grabbed her arm and pulled it down.
Shh!
He instructed.
They watch my every move with the glasses on, remember? I found out it's more than that. They keep it on even when the glasses are off. This is my only chance. I have to warn you about what's coming. Everything you know is a lie.
What?
Misty hissed, uncertain how to respond.
She started biting him.
He licked his lips.
You see, the necromancers.
His face exploded into blood and bone, which splattered all over Misty. She began a keening wail as she felt the coppery effluvia, wow, nice, slide down her face.
Someone's got a word a day calendar.
Quinn, I was literally going to say that exact sentence. Holy shit.
And wrote this in 5 days.
She quickly wiped it away to see what had caused it.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Okay.
That's enough of that.
Said Mr. Johnson as he walked towards her, gun held in hand by his side.
Now, can we trust you to finish your job in a proper manner, unlike this fool?
This fool! He stopped, his feet placed firmly between Mr. Davis's splayed legs. Misty's gaze became as steel, and she quickly kicked a coltish leg out, knocking Mr. Johnson's gun into the choppy waves below. She ran away towards the bow, stern, the back of the boat. On the... shit, what was it? On the poop deck or the bowsprit or some goddamn thing.
The Howard Stern.
Okay, I just want to say, Misty is a water type trainer. She would know
True.
what the bow and the stern were.
She's water. She's not a boat trainer.
This is completely unrealistic.
But she definitely has been on the SS Anne.
Yes, yes, she has.
Maybe this isn't so much like peering into her perspective as it's just the writer struggling. Yeah, so on the poop deck or the bowsprit or some goddamn thing, she saw Ash fighting a ghost with his samurai swords. He was so fast with them now, she could barely even discern the actual swords, really only seeing sparks now and then. The ghost was slowly but surely being torn to shreds, though not every slice hit. Nearby, Damien knelt over his Gengar, which had apparently died.
No.
Okay, so
Slicing up a Pokemon?
so no. There's a wraith.
You know nothing.
Okay, so Damien's one of the two characters that I want to do. It doesn't
Oh,
make any
Gengar is not the ghost.
Right, no, the
Okay.
wraith. Yeah.
He's a ghost Pokemon, but he's not a ghost.
Right. He's dead nearby. It doesn't make any sense.
Damien yelled.
They're ghosts. He's a ghost. How could they kill him?
There we go.
Oh, wow. There you go.
So F you. F all of you haters, you flamers, you damn preps.
Oh, we're gonna get a Cold Steel the Hedgehog rant here.
Pikachu was nearby, zapping enemies as well. And Jade was cowering beneath one of those pipe things that looked like the top of an HVAC unit on a Tokyo high-rise.
Guys!
Misty yelled, running towards the very tip of the boat, firing to keep any wraiths away from her. Does she have a gun of her own? Was that established?
She's got a gun.
Maybe.
I know she kicked a gun into the choppy wave.
Well, who knows?
With a
Because I mean,
cultish leg.
teenagers, that's their core, you know.
Yeah, I know.
They
They're
got
always
guns
plotting.
all over the place. It's
Okay,
The
this
kids,
is Mr.
They
Johnson.
all have guns, and they never put the safety on. And
They have vending machines in the bathrooms in the high schools.
Guns.
All right, we
in
need
the-
Mr.
Mr. Johnson to
Sanitary
set,
napkin and a
please.
Colt 45.
That's a Mr.
Did we
Johnson
lose?
set.
Okay. He says, ah.
Yes.
This is the rewrite.
Okay.
let's try it again, Drew. This time.
Just have fun with it. Just go nuts on this one.
Mr. Johnson said, his gun now put away.
What propitious circumstance.
Perfect. Ash destroyed the wraith he was fighting and looked at Mr. Johnson, huffing in huge gulps of air. Mr. Johnson approached Damien.
Would you like your Gengar back, son?
Yes.
Damien shouted.
I can help you with that. If you'll stay out of this.
Damien shrugged.
Whatever.
Mr. Johnson approached Ash.
Mr. Ketchum.
He asked, approaching him with a hand out. Ash cocked
Still-
his head.
Ash.
He questioned in a gruff voice.
Remember what we talked about?
Ash's face lit up in recognition.
Ash Ketchum.
Yes, well, I think that time has arrived. If you would.
He nodded in Misty's direction.
No!
Misty yelled. Ash bared his teeth and growled. He ran towards Misty. Swords backward facing beneath his arms.
I want you out!
You're cutting out.
Wilma Fighting Cap.
It was I you ah.
You out!
Bring it down a few notes. I think it's the height. Yeah.
I will. This is my natural.
Just put her through puberty, and it should be good.
I will fight you, Ash.
Okay. She screamed, dropping her pistol and raising her arms in a sign of surrender. Oh my god. Ash sheathed the sword in his left
sheathed
hand.
the sword. Ash sheathed. Oh my goodness, that's really
Yeah,
tough. Ash
yeah.
sheathed the sword. Ash sheathed the sword. Ash sheathed the sword.
In his left hand, then whipped his right arm up, and she felt the blade as it tore her shirt. Ash plunged the blade forward, and she dropped her arm to grab the blade. Staring into Ash's eyes, she pulled Ash's head toward her and whispered,
Don't forget your promise.
He whispered back, and she let herself move backwards, the sword slipping away from her torso. She fell backwards over the railing into the waters below. Yes, Spitfire, he had two swords. He was holding like in that really cool way, like where they're back.
Like skiing poles. You know how you're always afraid of skiers because they're holding poles like that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know how fearsome skiers are?
Ash's left hand stretched out over the ocean. It held a bag he'd grabbed from her pocket. He jiggled it so that he held the bottom, then tipped it over. Okay. All right. So he's like holding it by the top and he jiggles it around until he's got the bottom. Okay.
Right.
Then tipped it over. Pokeballs fell out of it, dropping into the ocean also. Spitfire says a long way to go to say he dumped it out. Pikachu hissed, and even Damien gave a muttered,
Whoa.
Mr. Johnson smiled as Ash raised the bloody sword above his head, red droplets pelting down onto his scalp. Mr. Johnson approached Ash.
Good job.
He said.
What did you tell him before pushing over?
Ash responded.
Catch him.
Mr. Johnson nodded his approval.
Why?
You know what? Let Ash catch him. Like Ash catch them. And he's supposed to catch them all.
Oh my god!
Gosh.
What?
Yeah.
But far
Have
from
you called
catching
the
them, he
game
dumped them into the
theorist?
ocean.
I'm going to write up